We have seen how low the president's approval is on his handling of Iran. But it's not just that the numbers are low, it's how far they have fallen. CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten is here. There has been substantial movement over the years.
So he's about to deliver really bad news to Donald Trump, who of course won't accept it. I'll give you his comical statements at the end. But right now, let's let Harry show you how much trouble Trump is in regards to the Iran war.
Back in July of 2024, 53% of voters who said they were extremely motivated to vote said they were actually confident that Trump would be able to handle the situation in Iran. Look at where that number is now when it comes to his approval among the same group. Just 29% of those who are extremely motivated to vote in these midterm elections approve of the job that President Trump is doing on Iran. Just look at these. Okay, say U.S. will reach a good deal with Iran ultimately. Just 27% of all voters believe that. And get this, just 41% of Republicans believe it. We are seeing below 50% across the board on this issue. And this is the reason, I think, more than any other, that folks disagree with Trump and Iran, because they simply put don't see what the point of it is. They don't see a way out of it.
I just have to give you context. I've never seen numbers that low. So if you don't remember, the Iraq war, when it started, was at 70% approval. It's and oftentimes higher. And why? Because they laid the groundwork. They did a lot of lying ahead of time about how misleading people into thinking that Iraq attacked us and had weapons of mass destruction and we were all gonna die within 45 minutes. And back then there wasn't as much independent media. It was basically just the Young Turks and the behemoth of mainstream media and Democracy Now! On our side. And we obviously were tiny at the time. We couldn't make a difference. And it was lie after lie, and 70% of the country believed that Saddam Hussein had personally attacked us on 9/11 when we went into that war. Trump did not do any of that lead up. He just out of nowhere, he was like, yeah, Iran is, even though we attacked it before and I said I destroyed all their nuclear facilities, I'm gonna attack it again. And gave us no real reasons why America should be in that war. You know why? Because there are no real reasons that America should be in that war. Marco Rubio, a couple of days later at the time, admitted, yeah, the Israelis pushed us into the war. Then there was a series of articles, even in the New York Times, explaining, yes, Netanyahu and the head of Mossad came into the Situation Room, Netanyahu in person and head of Mossad over Zoom, and they convinced Trump to start this war. And obviously it was for the benefit of Israel. And we talked about it earlier in the show. They gained so much from it, destroy a regional competitor, be able to take southern Lebanon, hold 70% of Gaza, try to get people to join their pipeline as an alternate route to Strait of Hormuz, use more of their gas fields, including Leviathan. So Israel has won spectacularly from this war, but we have lost. Here in America, we've run out of defensive missiles. It's a real threat to our military. We're running out of our most sophisticated offensive munitions. We're running out of the strategic oil reserve that we have. We're running out of patience in the markets on gas prices. Inflation is going up. We've got 18 dead Americans at a minimum, over 600 injured, over $100 billion gone. It has been a super painful loss for us as Israel celebrates all of these great things that are wonderful for them and a disaster for the rest of the world, including us. And since Trump never laid the groundwork and there was never real reason to go into war, and we've had nothing but pain from it, 27% of the country does not trust him on the war in Iran. That is an incredibly low number. I've always thought, based on the polling that I've seen all the way back to the Bush era, through the Trump era, that there was an immovable 28% of the country. And that if you said, hey, this person is a Republican or right wing or conservative, it didn't matter what they did, they were gonna back that person. We're below the 28% barrier. I've never seen it cross before on any issue, almost on any issue, and it's crossed on this. And then independents are 23%. That is a miserable number. Nearly 8 out of 10 independents opposed to him on what is the most important issue. It wasn't an important issue to us until Trump made it an important issue and started to really damage our economy and let alone our military and our soldiers with this war. And my God, his GOP support is under a majority, previously thought unimaginable. Only 41% of Republicans support him on this war effort. It just can't, I'm not sure it could literally get any worse than that. And yet he still won't turn around because Israel has a stranglehold on us. And so now it's affecting not just Trump, but the Republican Party as well. And Harry Enten is going to explain that.
Party trusted more in wars, conflicts, and terrorism. Back in January of 2025, look at this. Republicans were ahead by 18 points, a tremendous advantage. That advantage, because of President Trump, has turned into a disadvantage on a core key question that almost always favors Republicans. Now Democrats have a 2-point edge. That is a 20-point move that we're seeing towards the Democrats. Down the Republicans go because down goes President Trump.
Now that plus 18 should have never existed. So that unfortunately was built on lies. Who did the Iraq war? Oh, right, the Republicans did. Who did the Iran war? Oh, right, the Republicans did. All my life I heard all peace through strength, right? But we never got to peace. All we got was war and more war and endless war. Venezuela out of nowhere, for what reason, right? And Reagan with the interventions into Latin America, and George H.W. Bush into Panama. War on top of war on top of war. No, they're not good at this. They suck at this. And I'm not defending the Democrats. They've co-signed on so much of that. Big, important Democratic leadership standing up for democratic values. Really? Guess who said yes to the Iraq war? Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, John Kerry. They always support the Republicans whenever they need more war because they all work for the defense contractors and for Israel and for all the donors. But yes, the Republicans have been far, far worse. Gotta get look, if you trust a Democrat not to go to war, it's a 50-50 proposition. So sometimes they'll do Libya, and the endless drone strikes and the endless help to Israel. But did any of the Democratic presidents give in to Netanyahu's demands to attack Iran? They didn't. So maybe they're 50-50. On the Republican side, it's 100, and now that especially the Tom Massey loss, it's 100-0. So if they tell you they're not going to bring you to war, I guarantee you it is a lie. They will definitely start a war because they work for the donors. So now, here comes Israel first and the war hawks, and they say, who cares what Americans want? We should go deeper into the war anyway. Watch.
The greatest generation endured the severe economic scarcity of the Great Depression during their youth, followed by massive global combat and home front mobilization during World War II. Over 16 million Americans served in the military, facing intense physical danger, hundreds of thousands of casualties, strict civilian rationing of food, gas, and clothing. We sit here with a war in Iran against an enemy that has killed thousands of Americans, maimed thousands of Americans. I remember a time when America would say, let's go. Let's destroy that country, destroy that government. You don't get to kill thousands of our fellow citizens, military or civilians. You don't get to try to assassinate our president. You don't get to threaten us with potential nuclear weapons either. Now it's a debate. Should we take him out, shouldn't we? Are you a neocon or a warmonger? Is this a war of choice? We don't even have a draft. Would a draft even work with young people today? I wonder. Could we even fight World War II today? We're whining about $1 of gasoline.
So it's your fault. How dare you whine about gas prices? That's helping Israel back into the war, you stupid American servant. We had hundreds of thousands killed in World War II. Why not do another world war? Why not have hundreds of thousands of Americans killed? Israel needs another war. How dare you, insolent Americans, not do exactly as Israel has ordered you? I mean, we've given you all of these lies. You remember when Iranians killed thousands of Americans right before the war? No, I don't remember that. You made that up. Well, I mean, there was a bombing back in 1983. We're going to war because of something that happened in 1983. Israel has killed 10 of our citizens in the last 3 years. Should we invade them? They murdered them and didn't arrest anyone. So that's their government going, attaboy, way to kill those Americans. And did America get any justice for that? No. Hey, you better be careful what you're saying, Mark Levin. If you're talking about invading countries because they're murdering Americans, let alone raping American girls, Tom Alexandrovich is an Israeli government official who came here to do sexual tourism and try to rape a 15-year-old American girl. We let him go back to Israel because Israel's so much more important than America. American girls are to be taken advantage of. Epstein worked for Israel. Every single international deal he did, including procuring cyber weapons for the Israelis, was for Israel. There was videos in the Kleenex boxes. Who did they videotape? Our press and our government says, oh, nobody at all. And Epstein and his allies in Israel would never do that. Wink. Why can't we ever find out who who Epstein was associated with? I mean, we know it was Israel, but who does he have tapes on? Who else did the crimes? No, you can't ever know. You can't ever know because Israel is allowed to do anything it wants to you. Back into the war until hundreds of thousands die and your gas prices are much higher because Mark Levin has told you. How dare you Americans object? So apparently Trump is not unpopular enough, but Trump lives in detached from reality. He thinks Mark Levin, represents right-wingers more than Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and almost all of their most popular hosts. 13 people watch Mark Levin and they're all rabid Zionists and they in front of the TV screen, they're like foaming at the mouth, kill more Palestinians and Iranians and Lebanese, make the Americans pay for it. That's his audience, that's who he is. And Trump thinks that that's the leading right-wing host in America and that he's gonna listen to that prick and get more Americans killed for Israel. So he says, no, it's okay. I'm sure that all the Israelis who surround him, which is almost the entire administration, Susie Wiles worked for them. Marco Rubio got $5 million from Larry Ellison with a note that Ellison sent to the Israeli ambassador that he'll now work for Israel. Pete Hegseth bragging about how the IDF should be all over our streets in his stupid book. Why do you think he's the Secretary of Defense when he was like a hobo couple of years ago? But that's because he wrote in his book, I think Israel should take over America and they should rule our streets. Like, oh, good, make him Secretary of Defense. So all those guys are apparently telling Trump, no, your numbers aren't real. No, there's secret numbers where you're a magical unicorn and people love you. So he writes this on Truth Social. My real polling numbers, not those made up by the fake news media, are the best they've ever been. And why wouldn't they be with the biggest tax cuts and blah, 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 and how he delivered for the rich and for Israel and for all of his donors. And he says, don't believe the radical left's fake poll numbers. They're crooked and corrupt, just like the country destroying Democrats. This third grader still doing insults like this, are crooked and corrupt. Vote Republican for greatness in America. Yeah, if you'd like more endless wars. On and on he goes. We have a president who is totally detached from reality and does not even represent this country. So why is an American president so unpopular? That's because at this point, the country's not even sure that he's American or serves American interests. I mean, he claims he's American, but he also claimed to be America first. And when has he ever represented us? All he's ever done is represent the oil companies, the defense contractors, everyone who bribed him, everyone who gave him money, and everyone who apparently has damaging information about him. So we will stay in the war no matter how unpopular it is, because Israel has ordered it.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.